All right. Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Anna. I'm an opera singer and I'm also a trained life coach. This channel is a safe space where we talk all things coaching, all things personal growth, and all things mental health. And by the looks of today's topic, we also talk about predatory behavior on social media. I actually had other plans for today's video. I was going to talk about the blocks. I was going to get into those as I started to talk about in the last video. I was going to explain them a little bit and give you some handy tools that we use in coaching to self-coach a little bit and help you break through the blocks. However, I just finished watching Apple Cider Vinegar on Netflix, which, if you haven't seen it, is about an Australian health and wellness influencer, Belle Gibson, who infamously lied about having cancer in order to promote her product, The Whole Pantry. There's so much info already out there about her, and it's not really the point of today's video, so I won't bother getting into her story, but all you have to do is Google Belle Gibson or you could watch Apple Cider Vinegar if you haven't watched it already. And there's also a documentary on Netflix now about her story as well. I got so fired up after watching this, and since I already started ranting about it in my last video and I was going to end up doing a deep dive on this topic anyway, I just decided to expedite this topic for today's video because it's just so important. We are living now in a culture where everybody's the expert, everybody's giving advice, and anybody can say anything they want on the internet and face zero accountability for the damage that it causes. And much of this is done in the name of coaching. The sales tactics being used out there in the name of coaching, health, wellness, spirituality, financial freedom are predatory and dangerous. They are manipulative and encourage you to abandon critical thinking and simply buy into the rubbish being sold, often at a very high price, not only monetary. In the series, it really shows very tragically how people can pay for this with their health and even with their life. Okay, I'm going to try to keep it light. I'm going to try not to get too heavy with it in this video. There are many examples of predatory behavior online, and I did touch on it briefly in my last video, which is linked here if you'd like to go back and watch it. I couldn't possibly talk about all of them today, so I'm just going to focus in on one, and I'm going to cover others in future videos and maybe even do a series if you guys like this kind of content. So today, obviously, since I brought up Apple Cider Vinegar, I think it's only clear that I'm going to be talking about health and wellness coaches. So I'm going to start off by saying that I have absolutely nothing against genuine health and wellness coaches. What I am against is the predatory sales tactics used by some to manipulate into following and spending all of your money on them. What I want to do is just break down some of the most common sales tactics so that you can be able to recognize when you're being manipulated and just so you're armed out there in the online world. I think a good place to start is to talk about what a genuine health and wellness coach typically does. A health and wellness coach will often have a background in nutrition, but not always, and they're there to support you in achieving certain health goals that you may have, including but certainly not limited to weight loss. The coaching part comes in supporting the mental and emotional aspects of your journey. So that looks like potentially identifying habits that might not be supporting your goals, finding what blocks might be underlying there that are creating those habits, and then supporting you to make new habits and form new beliefs that do support your goals. I think society has started to accept that physical weight is so much more than just simply diet and exercise. Long-lasting health actually requires major mental and emotional shifts in order to create sustainable lifestyle change. And this is where a health and wellness coach, rather than only a nutritionist or only a personal trainer, can be exceptionally helpful. It's all about looking at your relationship with food. Why do you reach for certain foods in certain moments? For example, in the very common habit of emotional eating. It takes a lot of mental and emotional work to sustainably break the habit of emotional eating rather than simply the sheer willpower of saying, okay, I'm no longer going to emotionally eat. Good luck with that. That's where a health and wellness coach would come into the picture. Of course, health and wellness coaches don't only work on weight loss. It's just a very, very common example. Now, thankfully, not everybody is out there claiming to have cancer. Belle Gibson is definitely an extraordinary example of this predatory online behavior. But many out there are fear-mongering, making, drastic health claims in the name of coaching in order to sell themselves or their product. The first fear-mongering tactic that I'm going to go into is what I like to call Toxin Terror. This is the suggestion that everything from your tap water to the air that you breathe in your home to the food that you put in your body to your skincare is full of hidden toxins and is poisoning you. It's pushing this narrative that you need to be constantly detoxing and that only their detox protocol, supplement, coaching, product, whatever can do that for you. Just think about that for a minute. If everything around you is a source of toxins, that means endless revenue for someone who's preying on that fear. In my opinion, I think mothers and parents of young children are some of the most vulnerable to this particular fear-mongering tactic, because what parent wants to think about their child being full of toxins and parasites and poison? The primary obligation of a parent is to keep their child safe. So then if someone on the internet starts telling you that the food that you're feeding them and the sheets that you have them sleeping in and the roof that you have over their head is poisoning them, that is terrifying. How much money would you spend to keep your children safe? By the same token, if you're constantly being told that you need to detox, that keeps you in an endless cycle of buying in order to continue detoxing because you're never detoxed enough, which means more money in the predator's pocket. Health and wellness coaches also love to link pretty normal bodily functions like fatigue and bloating to mystery illnesses or conditions that only their supplement, their protocol, or their product can fix. These kinds of diagnoses are generally vague, but also a little bit scary sounding. For example, heavy metal toxicity, hormonal imbalance, adrenal fatigue. I've actually noticed a pretty heavy influence on gut health lately on social media. And this vagueness makes it really difficult to either prove or disprove this condition that you're supposed to have. And very importantly, it makes the results very difficult to measure. And that therefore makes it much easier for them to shame, pressure, scare you into continuously spending money on their services in order to heal. Let me make this abundantly clear. A real coach does not want you to work with them forever. The point of coaching is to get you from where you are to where you want to be and then kiss you goodbye and watch you shine in the world on your own. It is not to keep you in endless spending cycles, convincing you that you have illnesses that only the coach can cure. This is predatory and it is absolutely unethical. The next fear-mongering tactic that's shown most clearly in apple cider vinegar is what I like to call the natural narrative, and most importantly, the demonization of conventional medicine. Now, again, I have absolutely nothing against natural medicine, against homeopathic remedies, and quite frankly, as a society, we probably are over-medicated. We don't need to be popping pills for every little thing, and we also know for sure that a balanced diet consisting of primarily whole foods can really support optimum health in most people. In apple cider vinegar, Belle claims to have healed herself of a malignant brain tumor through healthy eating and rejecting traditional therapy like chemotherapy and radiation therapy. And so her followers with cancer view her obviously as a role model. They want to be like her. They buy her products, her app, her book. They emulate her lifestyle, and they too want to go off their chemo because they see her looking so well and thriving. Because Belle is pushing the narrative that it is the medicine that is making them sick. The only problem is She's not bloody sick. Obviously, this is a very, very extreme example. As I said, not everyone's out there faking cancer and telling society's most vulnerable to go off their meds. There is a demonization of conventional medicine and a push of distrust in doctors and medical professionals in favor of their advice. And this is done, in my opinion, for a really specific purpose. So that when you go to the doctor and say, hey, I read this, or hey, this influencer with a nose ring, that's a line from Apple Cider Vinegar if you've seen it, said this. And when the doctor says either that's not true or there's no scientific evidence to back that health claim, that you don't value that answer because you've already been fed this distrust. You are being encouraged to abandon critical thought and put all of your faith and your money into this influencer or coach. They push this narrative that conventional medicine, including doctors, nurses, surgeons, hospitals, is an industry that is hiding the truth and is designed to keep you sick in order to make money off you. The thing is, they're selling a product too. So all they're really saying is, don't pay them, pay me instead. I've got you. I've got the answer. I've got the truth. Trust me. Personally, I find this some of the most egregious psychological manipulation because when it comes to health, people are especially vulnerable, particularly the sick. They are hopeful and they will try anything to get well, and preying on that vulnerability in order to make money is despicable. This I've got you is usually some sort of natural remedy, supplement, protocol, or detox that I like to call the natural narrative. And that is the over-promising of the health benefits of certain natural remedies and the unsubstantiated claim that they can heal everything from chronic illness to mental health issues, and the absolute lack of accountability for the results, or more importantly, the lack thereof. And the problem is, when it doesn't work, they have already cultivated in you an absolute distrust of everything, including the air that you breathe in your home, so that they can blame just about anything for when it doesn't work, including you. Well, did you follow the protocol exactly? Well, you mustn't be committed. The problem must be you. No refund for you. This gaslighting would be funny if it weren't so dangerous. And the natural narrative also extends to the claim that because something is all natural, that it's good for you, and that just simply is not always the case. Essential oils are a fantastic example of this. Essential oils are lovely. I love them. Put a few drops in the diffuser, in a candle. Yummy. However, they can be highly, highly toxic if ingested. And yet there are those out there recommending everything with essential oils, from putting them topically on an open wound to cooking with them. Just because something is natural does not make it good for you. These sticks in a vase behind me, they're natural. I foraged them myself from a forest near my house. Should I grind them up and put them in my morning smoothie? Or maybe better yet, I should pay someone online buckets of money because it's going to heal all of my health problems that I apparently have. Beware the natural narrative. So in conclusion, please don't abandon critical thought. Use critical thought, common sense, and your intuition out there. And if something feels off, it probably is. Beware miracle or biohacking claims, scary or vague language, the rejection or the demonization of conventional medicine, and an us versus them dogma. Spending cycles and diagnoses that keep you in a constant state of detoxing or healing. All of these are psychologically manipulative tactics that are highly predatory, and they place the coach in a position of authority, which makes them very difficult to question. A real coach will never diagnose you, firstly because it's outside their area of expertise, and they will never try to keep you working with them by shaming, pressuring, or frightening you. There are really wonderful and fantastic health and wellness coaches out there, and I just hate to see this predatory behavior in the name of coaching. I'm going to talk about spiritual coaches, MLMs, and money-making courses in some future videos, so do stick around, and if there's anything that I haven't mentioned there that you'd love me to talk about, do let me know. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and please leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. If you like this video and you want to see more of this kind of thing, please consider liking and subscribing, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss an upload from me. If you're here, you're in a safe space, and I look forward to welcoming you back again. Until next time.